Hello, everyone. There's some green flags and hearts and everything. How we doing, everybody? Let me know in the chat. We got Ty Dillon Supremacy. Uh, you know what? It could be a pretty good day. It could very much be. We are green. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for licking that like button. I appreciate it. Um, but good to see everyone doing pretty well. That's good. I'm doing good. Seems like y'all are doing good. We even got Mittens back from the dead here. Nice. Um, well, let's talk about the 2025 Brickyard 400 coming up today. All right. We'll talk about everything, storylines having to come into it, points, tournament, you name it. We'll talk about the Austin Hill deal a little more, beat that more to death at the end. Just that way, let's talk about the race itself. And let's go through a few things on it. Because there actually is a lot to look at when it comes to this race, at least when it comes to the crown jewel kind of thing. And for instance, we got the starting lineup too, everything. We'll go through all of it. A few things here. Starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. 160 laps, 50, 50, 60 is the breakdown. True TV with the alt cast, TNT with the main cast, IMS radio, and Sirius with the radio call. And Kyle Larson is the one that is the defending winner. I don't know if you can hear, but my daughter's crashing the fuck out there. And this is fun about the pre-race ones is we can be more relaxed. So, damn. I have a good mic if y'all can't hear. I'll just say that. Weather is the issue. And it seems like it's always the issue when it comes to these races that we do the pre-race for. All right, you can't hear? Then damn, my mic is working really freaking well at the compressor and everything. Cool. But let's look at the weather here. So it's going to be in the mid 80s today in Indianapolis. Not too bad, honestly. I know people were complaining like, "Oh my God, it's so hot in the Midwest." It's like the Midwest summers are basically like Southern ones, but shorter. Like they've always been hot. I mean, I grew up in Northern Illinois, hung out in Southern Wisconsin, and it was normal to be in the high 90s, sometimes in the hundreds growing up. So not surprised at all. Twin Spinner with the early super chat saying Dylan actually beat Gibbs in the 400 last year. That is true, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And the Polish hardware store saying Cindric win today. I'm delusional. Yeah, Penske's been a bit slow, at least what I saw in practice. But the thing of the weather here is there's going to be, much like the rest of the Midwest during the summer, a lot of pop-ups, a lot of scattered thunderstorms, a lot of just unpredictable weather. I've seen a lot of the racing meteorologists, among others, talk about how we have kind of a wall of clouds that is like we don't know if the storm is going to build up and hit the track or if it's going to avoid and just do pop-ups or anything like that. It's typical of the Midwest. Personally, from what I've been able to tell, I've talked to a few people, DM'd them that are at the track today. It seems like it's going to be good until about 1:30 local time, so Eastern time. Roughly, it could go either way with that, but that we should get the race start in at least. Now, again, I've talked about the weather in these pre-race shows before, and it's been very hit or miss. So take that as you will. When I looked at the official National Weather Service forecast for today, 2:30 local to about 7 local, it could pop up thunderstorms any point. It's around a 50% chance as the day goes. But again, in the Midwest, they late afternoon, you're going to get thunderstorms if there's a chance at them. So there's a little worry there. Sunset is 9:02 Eastern, so about 2 hours after that local time. There is a wide window with where Indiana is and all of the time zones and everything like that. So we do have a pretty wide window if TNT allows today to get the race in. I personally think we're going to get the race in. I do. I do think we're going to get the race in today. but I do think we're probably going to have delays at different points. It is not going to be run, I don't think, through and through. And if we do, or if we have even what like the Xfinity race was yesterday with minimal delay, I will be very happy, pleasantly surprised. It's a possibility. I don't know for sure if it'll happen. Andrew Winslow with the 2 says mods asleep post ponies. And let's see. NA YouTube says, hope Bubba has a chance today. Want to win so bad. It's been way too long, and I want to see if the guy on Twitter will say 1 day since his last one. See, that's the thing. If the dude is true to the troll, he needs to be like, so have we talked about it being 1 day since Bubba's last one? I would love that. And I love you being a good sport about it too. And speaking of Bubba Wallace, let's talk about the starting grid for this race. Chase Briscoe, of course, is on the pole. He has won the pole for the 500, the 600, the Brickyard. Southern 500's coming up soon. I'd put some money on him, just saying. Bubba Wallace starts beside him in second, but if I'm not mistaken, last year ran pretty damn well, led 26 laps, 5th place finish for Bubba Wallace last year. Wouldn't be surprised. And we'll pull up the playoff cut line and battle and everything like that in a moment. Jones and Reddick, row 2. Then Gibbs, one of the ties in the in-season tournament, starting 5th, next to Byron. Busher and Hocevar, Allmendinger, Cindric, the top 10. Then SVG, I really hope I got the right ones. SVG starting 11th. Is that really where he's starting? Let's see. Let me know, chat. Is that really where he's starting? I feel like I put that in wrong. Oh, yeah. We got the Cookie Monster. That's right. Cookie Monster is the Grand Marshal. Holy shit. Good job, man. Hell yeah. SVG in 11th. All right. Next, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and Keselowski. After that, then Logano rounds out the top 15. Bell, Barry, Gregson, Gilliland, and Austin Dillon, the top 20. Bowman, 21st. 22nd, McDowell. 23rd, Priest. Then Blaney in 24th. Herbst in 25th. Ty Dillon, if you're looking for the tie that seems to be the popular one to root for, 26th on the grid today. Then Smith, Haley, Custer, and Chase Elliott, the top 30. 31st, Suarez. Stenhouse in 32nd. Chastain and Ware, 33rd, 34th. Love, 35th. Nemechek, Balicki, Legg, and Hamlin round it out. Telling you, man, there's going to be some comers and goers in this race. A few starting in the rear as well. Hamlin, of course, because he crashed in qualifying. McDowell, Nemechek, Smith, and Love all starting in the rear. We'll put that down at the bottom for you now. Let's talk about Denny Hamlin for a moment, because I think he's somebody who has a ton of speed. I don't know what the backup car has, but ton of speed in that 11 car. Crashed in qualifying, starting from the rear in the backup, of course. This week, signed an extension. It was confirmed today through 2027, and he's pretty much alluded to the fact that this is going to be his last extension. So we're probably only getting 2.5 more years of Denny Hamlin. If you love Denny or you want to appreciate him being awesome in this sport, there you go. You got 2.5 years to do it. If you hate Denny and you want him gone, you got 2.5 more years. You got to bear with him through 2027. I wouldn't be surprised if he was competing championship level in all of those. I wouldn't be surprised if today, maybe through strategy, maybe if he has a really good car that can go through traffic, if Denny Hamlin isn't competing in some way for the win today. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for him to compete for the win today, I think, just because of just because of how difficult it is in this car. But who knows, man? We've seen crazier. By the way, as the poll is going, almost 200 votes, 71% of y'all are going Ty Dillon as your vote to beat Ty Gibbs. So yeah, I mean, let's talk about the tournament for a little bit. Ty Gibbs, Ty Dillon. Y'all talked about it a little bit earlier in here. Ty Dillon last year finished 19th. Now he was driving Pop's car, running in the 33. But Ty Gibbs ended up finishing 23rd. Now, the starting order is going to be difficult with Gibbs starting 5th and Ty Dillon starting 26th. Though last year, Ty Gibbs started 6th and Ty Dillon started 22nd. Ty Gibbs has been on a heater lately, at least for his season. He's definitely turned his season around in a lot of ways. Just kind of looking, I want to kind of look at where his statistics have been the last couple of weeks. And I don't know why he would not be running all that well, or not be running well, I should say, today. In the last 3 races, now granted, 2 of them road courses, 2nd, 7th, 5th, and he hasn't had a finish below 14th since Nashville. Just saying, Ty Gibbs is probably going to be somebody we're going to see running in the top 15 roughly today, even if it's not a great day. Ty Dillon, on the other hand, looking back at how he's been doing this season, 1 top 10. So there is that. Now, in the last 4 races since this in-season challenge has started, he has finished top 20 in all of them, which is the best stretch of races he's had all year as well. He finished 8th, 20th, 17th, 20th. I'm going to be honest. My brain is telling me Gibbs. My brain is telling me Gibbs is going to win this one. My heart and hope and me wanting a good storyline is so hoping, almost like on my knees, almost praying, like, please let it be Ty Dillon. I want it to be Ty Dillon. And Spencer brings up a great point when it comes to the weather. I know y'all are talking about that. Halfway's lap 80. That would be where they would call the race. And to be fair, yeah, half the time you can't trust my brain. I've hit my head so many times. Let's see in the chat, because we have the slow mode on, just so, for just sanity reasons. But put the number in there in the chat. Who do you think is going to win? Not who you want to win. Who do you think is going to win? 10 or 54. Here's the thing that, again, the weather is what could completely, for lack of a better way, wash away any performance today. For the 10 or the 54, either way. Gibbs could get caught during rain out on a cycle of pit stops and be in the back, and Ty Dillon could stay out, or vice versa. It could go that way. And that's something that needs to be remembered in a lot of this. Same with who could win this race, right? Chase Briscoe is starting up towards the front in this race. Bubba Wallace starting up towards the front. Chris Buescher starting up there. Byron up there. Hocevar. Larson's not too far from the front. Neither's Keselowski, who did really well. They could run up front a lot of the day, but somebody who's starting in the back, like an Elliott, like a Chastain, like a Denny Hamlin, like a Ryan Blaney, they could all end up at some point, being cycled up because of weather. That is the duality of the weather race. That is Indianapolis in a nutshell, is the fact that you have those kind of weird things that can happen. And it's strategy too. Fuel, 38 to 43 laps is roughly what they think they can go on a full fuel run, which I doubt somebody would try and go the full 50, but I could totally see somebody just doing like a splash and go at the end of a stage or something, or trying to, maybe if an early caution happens, trying to go the full distance. Totally could see that happening. Don't be surprised in the first stage if that's what happens. I think especially if rain's a threat at any point, don't be surprised if everyone tries going long in stage 2, or if somebody tried short pitting and maybe doing some weird strategy finagling on it. Adventures with Trevor here says, I will be at Darlington next month. Go Joey Logano today. Well, I hope you have a great time. I like the frog in the profile pic, and hopefully Logano does well for you, man. I don't root against anyone except maybe, and we'll talk about it in a bit. Maybe I'll start rooting against Austin Hill at this point. I've been pretty fair on him, but we'll get there in a bit. As for, and I know a lot of y'all are talking about it, chat could get a sweep with a Blaney win. When it comes to the picks, and I'll put it on my Twitter account right now, X, whatever you want to name it. I will put it up right now, but I'll read them off for you. The picks for today. Here's who you have to look at for the NWP guys. Danny has Kyle Larson. Eric has Denny Hamlin. Chat, y'all have Ryan Blaney. And I have Chase Elliott. I think all four of them are going to probably put up a pretty good fight. All four of them are going to have to come from some sort of traffic. Kyle Larson, kind of at the upper end of the pack at least. As long as he doesn't crash himself out like he is so prone to do, or crash other people out, we should be good. Xfinity race yesterday was rough, buddy. That was rough, but I'll put that tweet up there right now. And yeah, Blaney's either going to get a good finish or a DNF. It's the only thing that he does with it at this point, man. Bub for the Canadian 10. Here's a fun fact. This is the fourth time in Ty Dillon's career he has strung 4 top 20s in a row. And the first time in 3 years, we were truly on the Dill Sanity run. I like that. The Dill Sanity run. Let me write that down. That way I can remember it for the post-race show, which hopefully will be today. We'll do a post-race show as usual. So if you're new, if you're coming in to hang out before the race and before pre-race coverage starts on TNT, subscribe. We talk about that. We talk about every one of the top 3 series. Hell, like I said, we talked about the Xfinity series a lot yesterday in video and stream form. So love having everybody hanging out. Let's talk about the big picture, right? Let's talk about the playoff cut line. We'll put it up right now. You see it on the bottom of the screen with a couple others, but this is really what we're looking at as of this past week. 5 races to go on the regular season. Chris Buescher plus 48, Bubba Wallace plus 16, Ryan Preece minus 16. Of course, you have, your Kyle Bushes that are like 39 back or something like that, but a pretty difficult gap to try and make up. And then, of course, you have your Alex Bowmans, your Tyler Reddicks that are over a race up in points right now, unless there's a new winner. And then somebody like Bubba Wallace does something crazy good, I should say. You're not going to see them fall out of the top 16. Hey, we got Daily Downfords in the chat. How's it going, man? Good to see you. I'm going to say, man, you're looking at the way that this starting lineup and this starting grid is looking, and you got Bubba Wallace starting second. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up winning the first stage, not maybe because he leads, but because the guy's going for the win pit and he stays out to get the stage points. Chris Buescher's up there as well in 7th. He's somebody to look at, whereas Ryan Preece is buried back in 23rd. That's going to be big on the stage point side of it, especially early on, especially if this thing doesn't get past the halfway point or gets just past the halfway point, I should say. Having Preece 23rd while you have Bubba Wallace 2nd, while you have the likes of Buescher in 7th, that's going to be difficult. 21st, Alex Bowman, he could fall back into that without getting the right stage points and the right finishes. And even if it's not even if the race doesn't get rained out, which I think we're going to get it run today, even if we have some delays. When you look at the way that one rain shower can change a race, look at Dover just last week. We saw it. That could spell a major swing in all of this. Of course, we could get a new winner last year. Looking back at it, Brad Keselowski led 35 laps, and had they went green all the way, he probably wins this race. Tyler Reddick led 40 of the 167 laps last year. Led the most laps. Tons of laps led for Bubba Wallace, like I said, 26 last year. Strategy can help you out as well with John Hunter Nemechek. He had 16 laps led last year. Denny Hamlin had 21. When you look at the stages too, you'd see it. The 11 was up there a lot. Then the 9 had speed. The 12 was up there. The 5, the 23. So, there will be a lot of players in this thing. There will be a lot of players in this. And how am I? I'm doing pretty good today. Took a 7-mile walk after I think I did a 12-mile run the other day and worked out and just been feeling good. Been up since 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. Central, I should say. So 7 Eastern, 5 Mountain, 4 Pacific. So I was up and I could actually listen to Ellie Productions and Eric's videos that they put up at like 1 and 4 in the morning. Oh man. And let's see. As a Bubba fan, I'm probably the biggest Almirola hater, but you never want to see a guy get turned head on into the wall. I didn't like when Bubba did it to Larson, and definitely don't like what Hill did. That's good. Let's go into it. I know a lot of y'all. Jared says David Goggins. I've been listening to a little bit too much David Goggins for my own good. I've been doing like 4 to 8 mile runs every day for the last 2.5 weeks. Weightlifting 5 to 6 days a week. And then I'll walk on top of all that. On the same day, I'll walk my dog or walk the baby or just walk on my own 3 to 5 miles. Yeah, I've lost like 12 pounds in the last 14 days. And it's like all fat because I can literally see it in my face. So yeah, I'm on the Goggins arc right now, definitely. Let's do you think we'll see a flip today? Probably not, but with this speed, maybe. Let's talk about Austin Hill. Y'all want to talk about him. This ain't going away. We all know it's not going away at this point. So let's talk about Hill. I want to preface this for those who might be new or those who are going to think I'm dogpiling. And maybe I am at this point. Maybe I am. But I have defended Austin Hill a lot more than others on the post-race shows, on the videos that I've made, NWP. I've done a ton of defense for him when I think he's being unfairly criticized. There's been times I've been very critical of him too. This is the most egregious thing that I think any of us have seen in a long ass time. I really, really think that this might be one of the dumbest moves I have ever seen. And I got the video for you, full speed, and then we have the video slow motion back to back. So again, you see it. Almirola gets into Hill. He's not innocent necessarily, but should not be hit like that into a non-safer barrier wall. And you see, watch the white gloves. The white gloves don't lie. He has a great save. Credit where it's due. And then he just hooks it right down. Clear as day. Gets into Creed. Double whammy. Watch it again. I mean, I don't know how much more clear you can get. And also, if you're a driver, probably never wear white gloves again. I don't know how many times we have to tell drivers this, but they love their white gloves. Or at least their sponsors do. Again, I like the save. Sawing at the wheel. Unfortunately, nothing's broke, and he comes right down the track right into him. It's as clear as it gets. Clear as day as it gets. And now I want to follow that up because I didn't have the chance to, because this was put out after I went live yesterday, after I got done being live. And this is why I put up the video to kind of have the follow-up here. What Richard Childress had to say, right? Because I think this is the enabling that so many at Richard Childress Racing have had. And I think it's an RCR problem as much as an Austin Hill problem. I think Austin Hill has issues. I think Richard Childress, Jerry Jones of NASCAR, if you will, as everyone's calling him, which is of apt comparison, totally right too. So let's play it here.
Nothing. I'll be in bigger trouble than I already am with NASCAR, period.
Do you think Dillon should be suspended?
Do what?
Do you think Austin should be suspended?
Hell no. They didn't do a damn thing to the 2 car. When he wrecked tight and admitted to it, drove him in the right rear and wrecked him at COTA. It's who you are. We're a blue-collar team. They give us trouble all the time.
Whew, boy. Oh, boy. So, a few things. One, I will give him the credit, and I'm kind of on his side. I do think Austin Cindric should have been suspended after not Road America, COTA. I do. I totally get that side of it, right? Totally understand, totally on his side with that. Unfortunately, that does not, in my opinion, compare to this incident at all. This doesn't at all. This was egregious. This was over the line. Again, Eric Almirola was driving like an idiot yesterday too. If there's anyone who should not probably be getting a ton of sympathy, it was probably Almirola. From the dumb blocks he threw to the fact that, let's be honest, he was trying to move the 21 out of the way, doing almost a bump and run at a track that, let's be honest, even with the neutered cars Xfinity has right now, that's a dumb move too. Like it is. It's pretty dumb. But the 21 did a dumber move. Personally, I say this, suspend his ass 2 weeks, right? Like Jeff Gluck, I think, has the right mentality here. We should not be asking whether or not he is suspended or not. NASCAR, if they don't do something like that, I'm sorry, it is so much of a toothless bite to their penalties here. They need to put the hammer down and make an example. I would say 2 weeks, right? I think we go anything more than that, you're kind of going overboard. Discuss the playoff bubble. We already did. we did. We went through the playoff bubble for a good 5-10 minutes there. 2 weeks. Do the same as the Matt Kenseth deal. I think it's egregious and blatant as that. As for the blue collar thing, that's the funniest thing to me, because I did a cursory review. I went on a couple websites and it all said mostly the same thing. I'm sorry, when you're worth about $250 million from what it was saying, and you own a winery and you have all of this, these businesses and revenue coming in, you own a fucking NASCAR team, sorry, you're not blue collar anymore. You might have been 50 years ago. You're not now. Some of you guys said, I saw some super chats roll through. Beast of Metal, I see you're pretty angry right now. I said, yes, Austin Hill should be suspended, but no one here is discussing that Almirola tried to hook Hill first. You want this to stop? Suspend Almirola for the rest of the season. I mean, we can look back at it, but coming out of the corner, they got into each other, but that's not a hook. Like that's not. I'm sorry. That is not. I mean, unless there was one from before that no one's focusing on at all, that's not a hook. Now, the dumb moves he's made, sure, I give you that, but I don't think what Almirola did is nearly on the same level in any way of what Hill has done. And Hill has, I think, a worse reputation of it. I mean, you're saying it looks like a poorly timed hook attempt. I mean, if it's a hook attempt, that was the worst one I've ever seen. That was Danica Patrick levels terrible, but I don't see it. Sorry, I don't see. I think he tried to move him. I think it's a dumb move. I don't see the hook attempt on that. But agree to disagree. It's all good. Young Money says, in my opinion, Austin Dillon was a hero at Richmond in 2024. Nobody wanted Hamlin or Logano win. Hey, nobody might have wanted it, but that's not the way to do it. And that goes further, and that is where we're going to go with this too. Richard Childress Racing. Richard Childress Racing keeps having these same issues over and over again. All right. Austin Hill had had a similar deal at Charlotte last year in the Xfinity series. We saw Austin Dillon do something. Again, I said something in the water with the Austins, man. Like, we got 3 of them when you count in Austin Cindric with the Penske side of things. But it's enabled at this point. And it seems like, you look at the way the Austin Hill and Richard Childress today talked about Creed, whether they were right or wrong, say we can talk about that at some other point. That was 2 years ago, but still, basically, in my opinion, from that point on, Richard Childress Racing has had a great run of just delegitimizing anything they say, right? And it just completely feels like that over and over and over again. I think that this is way worse than what Austin Dillon did. I think, and I was banging on the drum again, like, big stick policy, whack him on the head and suspend him. With that one, it's just, to me, it's at what point does NASCAR have to step in with the team and be like, y'all need to get your shit together? I like Bush is the true is a lone true hero at RCR, and he's still, and his controversy was at least that he got into a fight. But I mean, remember that when he crashed Stenhouse, like lap 2 of the All-Star race. I don't know if Bush is that innocent either in all of this, right? Jesse Love might be and maybe remind me if I'm wrong here, but Jesse Love might be the innocent one at RCR at this point. That just might be because he hasn't enough time to be an idiot yet. Like it's insane to me what Richard Childress Racing and the appearance of that team overall has been. RCR, when like I said it yesterday, I think I said it in my video. I can't remember exactly if I did, but growing up, I grew up in an Earnhardt fan family, right? I was a Dale Jr. fan growing up. I was not old enough to really watch and remember Dale Sr. Like I remember like little snippets every now and then of like my childhood where like I'd be at my grandpa's house and like, TNN is on or something like that with the race. But like I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know what was going on. Right. But growing up, like RCR was, you had reverence for that team. It is a big deal with the history of that team with Dale Earnhardt. I'm wearing a Dale Earnhardt shirt, the 5-time champion one. Now, that my grandpa gave me. Like, nothing will take that away from RCR when it comes to the accomplishments and at least the legacy of accomplishment they've had. But let's be completely honest here. And there's a reason I made my fall of RCR video this past week, which watch it before the race today if you want, is because basically, people say since Dale Earnhardt died, they fell off. I don't think it was even that, because they had a resurgence from 06 to about 2011, 2012, 13. Kevin Harvick carried the team. Boyer did. Burton did. You had some really good drivers at that organization. And even some of them, ones that weren't good. You had wins from Robbie Gordon, and so it's not to me like, this team has been awful for the last 30 years, but ever since Harvick left, the tone has been set for this team. They chased off Harvick basically with the direction the team was going and not giving him what he needed to compete at the level he did at Stewart-Haas. They basically, through the way that it was run and how they acted after, they basically chased Tyler Reddick off. Somebody who could have probably been the face of their organization and been higher up. And they've had a seat that's been taken since 2014 by a guy who, let's be honest, will never probably be a consistently top 15 to top 10 driver in the NASCAR Cup Series, that you probably in free agency at some point could have had somebody better fit into that seat and win more. And not, for the most part, had lucky wins or wrecked people out of the way to win or anything like that. This team is so frustrating to look at because I do think they could be better. And I want to see Richard Childress Racing better, but it starts at the top. Honestly, at this point, I would think that nothing will change until the leadership changes. Nothing will. They'll keep floundering down to the bottom. They'll be a, at best, middle of the pack team, at worst 30th place team. I mean, hell, Paul Menard. Yeah. Paul Menard won for this fucking team, man. Paul Menard. Like that. I'm just, it's insane to me, man. It's insane to me. There's the comparison to Jerry Jones. Yeah. But you can't compare Richard Childress Racing to the Dallas Cowboys. At least the Cowboys make the playoffs and win games. Like, yeah, they sucked last year, but like, how many times have they won 12? I think there was like 3 years in a row. They won 12 games in a row. Richard Childress Racing consistently winning races year after year. No, they're not the Cowboys. They're worse. They're worse than the Cowboys. And you know what? At least, people talk about Roush falling down. At least Roush with Keselowski understood, and that team dug themselves out of it. So It's just frustrating to me. It just is. And I don't think anything will change. I think if a 2-race suspension happens in, 3 months or early next year, middle of next year, we're going to be talking about the same damn thing happening. The same damn thing over and over and over again. It's a pattern at this point. It really is. It's a pattern at this point. And I don't see any change in the foreseeable future. Honestly, and people will find me crazy for saying this, maybe if Austin Dillon takes over the team, he was the one that helped bring in Kyle Busch, who had the foresight to get a driver that was really good in that car and try and court him over. Yeah, maybe there wasn't a better option for Kyle Busch at the time with the way everything shook out. But that's a point in his favor compared to Richard Childress's. So just frustrating. Looking at some of the other stuff you guys put here. I know YouTube says blue collar worth $250 million. Yeah, totally blue collar, man. Yeah, I wish I was blue collar. If I was blue collar, man, I wouldn't be working. I'd be sitting on a beach in the Caribbean. Let's see. Tori says that's definitely not the hill I would die on. But I like that. Actually, it's pretty good. I feel like I'm legally obligated now as a dad to like dad jokes. Reverend Rasheem Hall Stewart, would you rather have Bubba or Alex Bowman? I'll take Bowman. I think Bowman consistently in championship equipment could still win a race or two a year. As for today, I'd probably take Bubba. Points wise, though, Bowman still. Bowman for the most part. Let's see. Bub says Austin Hill broke rule number 1 of stock car racing. Yeah, fair enough. iLobo Gaming, it says I bet RC gets Trump involved over. I feel like there's other problems on that side of it that I don't think that's going to happen. We'll keep politics out of it. So, even if Richard can't, we will. RCR is basically the Las Vegas Raiders. That might be a better comparison. Because what have the Raiders done since like 2002? That might be a much better comparison. Yeah, it's like if Jerry Jones took over the Raiders. That's kind of a good way to put it. But unless something major, controversial, or something really big storyline comes, maybe Ty Dillon winning, maybe he helps his grandfather out here. Without a really big storyline, I have a feeling this is going to be the biggest thing to talk about all week. Whatever happens, people are going to be pissed either way. They're going to be pissed at the situation. They're going to be pissed if he doesn't get suspended. People will get pissed if he is suspended because there's so many people that are like, no, that's old school NASCAR right there. No, I remember watching, then when they talk about old school anymore, now they're talking about like the 2000s. That's how it makes me feel old thinking about it when it's been over 20 years since the first race I ever watched. Sorry that, they were parking guys for 5 laps and they were, at times suspending people for reckless driving before. That's how they have been. I mean, hell, they're in the Earnhardt doc. They talked about him being parked for reckless driving, RCR car back in the 80s. So yeah, no, this is not old school NASCAR. We talked about the in-season bracket as well. It's not, you can't really talk too much about it because it's just 2 people. Other than the fact that Ty Gibbs has been pretty damn good the last couple weeks and is really kind of starting to turn the season around. Ty Dillon has been really good for his standards, 4 straight top 20s. But 4 straight top 20s compared to Ty Gibbs, who has finished like 14th or better since Nashville. Let's end the poll. And Ty Dillon has won the poll for who y'all think will win, 69% to 31. I know it says 68, but it was 69 before. Nice. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. We kind of covered most stuff going on. We will be live after the race. So if you're new, if you want to talk all about it, if you want to leave more stuff in the chat during that about the Xfinity race too, go on ahead. We will be talking all about the Brickyard at some point today. Knock on wood. I'm assuming. I think we will. But that'll be up probably in an hour or two, and we'll all just have y'all chill out in there, and we'll have some fun. Enjoy the race today. I'll see you later this afternoon, evening. Poll should be up probably right at the end of the race too, maybe a little after. Either way, gonna have a good day. It's always a good day when there's a NASCAR race on. So I'll see you later tonight. Have a good one. Enjoy the race, and bye.